Conservative activists at the Western Conservative Summit in Denver this weekend chose Ron DeSantis as their preferred 2024 presidential nominee for the second year in a row, with the governor taking 71% of the vote in a straw poll compared to former President Donald Trump's 67%.
Trump has yet to formalize a decision on whether he'll run in 2024. However, advisors told NBC News that the former president is, quote, bored in Mar-a-Lago, anxious to re-enter national politics as a candidate, not as a kingmaker. Two people in Trump's orbit told NBC News they had been asked informally to hold July 4th as a date for a possible announcement. What do you think, Olayemi? He's going to run?
Trump, probably, yeah. Listen, the way it's been discussed very matter-of-factly, like the sky is blue that Donald Trump is going to run. So I pretty much settled on that being my reality and to look forward to being upset about that when the day comes. But if we get DeSantis too, oh, my heart cannot take it.
I mean, that's what do you think? I think that's what's going to happen. I think Trump can help himself. Now, hearing that he's bored, why not? Obviously, he's got to be looking at Biden as just an incredibly weak president who is, approval numbers are way underwater, who has all these issues with inflation, with the war, with the pandemic not having been totally more deaths under Biden than actually under Trump. So I think Trump won't be able to handle it, won't be able to resist getting back into the race. But DeSantis, this is his time. This whole idea that, no, he needs to wait till Trump gets tired. I don't think he needs to wait. I think now is his time, and it's going to be quite a battle between the two. But I absolutely can see DeSantis at this point now, given all the favorable attention and coverage he's getting from right-wing media. Loves DeSantis. They love Trump. Don't get me wrong. They actually really love DeSantis. And even the people who didn't have a natural affinity for Trump, but they saw the writing on the wall and they got on board, those people prefer DeSantis. And then even a lot of the really Trumpy people prefer DeSantis.
And that should terrify us.
I could see it. It's crazy because a year ago I said, no, it's Trump's if he wants it. No one can ever.
Oh my God.
It's like the party never says no to him. DeSantis is the figure.
And that is terrifying because the Republicans love Trump like we love Beyonce. So if they love DeSantis more, what is that? Terror, fair. I don't know if he should wait by virtue of, in terms of his winnability for the side of people, but I hope he waits. And when I say waits, I mean until a next lifetime when I am not around, because I don't want to be a part of it. No.
Who would you prefer? I mean, would you prefer Trump or DeSantis?
Okay, we can receive this as a compliment or whatever, but Republican,
one of them's going to win.
Yeah.
One of them's going to be president. Barring some crazy, unforeseen circumstance, Biden will not be president in 2024. A Republican is going to win.
I don't
with the way
even think
things
Biden should run.
Well, but there's no Democrat that I think is going to win anything in 2024 because it's just an absolute disaster. Nothing is going well. So you have to pick, because this is going to be your choice, Trump or DeSantis. Which is it?
Olayemi is not choosing between those terrible demons.
You have to.
I'll be voting third party, I presume, like I always do.
I think either way, I will say this for Republicans. I'm always very critical of the fact that I feel like Democrats do not serve their base enough. Democrats do a lot of criticizing the left and with progressives and blah, 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 the very people that are on their side of the camp as crazies and blah, blah, when they should just, speak to that and get a candidate that we like. But I will give Republicans this. They do not care how crazy and how much we hate the Trumps and the DeSantis. They're like, ooh, you like it? We got it. We're going to give you DeSantis. So I think it might be a good move for them as a what's wrong with him, Kim? We don't got the time, Kim.
Listen, I was a Bernie Sanders voter. I voted Bernie Sanders. I've considered myself a leftist progressive for years and years, backed Tulsi Gabbard and Bernie Sanders in the last election. But going forward, look, I'm not going to lie. I like DeSantis. I hope he wins. That's the guy. Out of all of the candidates that are out there, DeSantis is the guy that I would prefer. I think that he's good on the environment. When he got in and became governor of Florida, he immediately began a climate council. So you can't hold against him anything environment and say that the guy doesn't care about that like you could about Trump. There are definitely things I don't like about DeSantis. There are things that he's done, such as gone after protesters, made laws against them that are pretty harsh. I don't like the culture stuff, getting into the whole like, oh, we're going to ban teachers from saying XYZ thing. I'm not really into that. But to me, that's fairly inconsequential compared to the crap that the Democrats have been doing that have actually been ruining our lives. I mean, if DeSantis does some things here and there that I don't agree with, I can deal with that. I'm not going to agree with any politician or anybody and their platform 100% of the time. I need to agree with like 85% of it. But DeSantis, I feel like, actually is representing his people in Florida. I feel like he's actually doing that and not representing as much as other politicians, the corporate billionaire class. So, I mean, I don't, like I said, there's things I don't like about DeSantis, but there are other things that from people that like freedom, he went in there and the legislature was unwilling to decriminalize marijuana. The people had voted on it. And DeSantis went in there right away when he became governor in Florida and said, hey, listen to the people. The people have done this. You need to do it. They want to decriminalize marijuana. So there's a lot I like about DeSantis. I don't think he has the downfalls that Trump has. I think he's free and clear of that while still being a for the people populist style candidate. I can live with that. It's better than the alternatives.
I don't like him at all, but I'm not meant to like him, right? I'm not his base. I'm not on that side of the aisle at all, right? I definitely hate him, which says something very positive for Republicans. I will agree. I think it is probably a better move to go DeSantis over Trump because at least not only do you have somebody that's very, very well liked and very much so serves this base and this contingency that, I may not like, but exists, right? It also moves away from this idea that we're still in the Trump, you know what I mean? The constant back and forth of Donald Trump and how we feel about that as a nation and what we've already been through. It at least allows the appearance of starting anew and someone that's, so if I were Republicans, I would go with DeSantis. But as someone who's not that, I am praying that y'all do not, do not.
Well, Kim,
who would you prefer?
It's
who
interesting.
Would you prefer on the left? I'm just curious. If you don't want Biden, who do you want?
The Democrats are not going to do anything I want, Kim. So it's no point in even hypothesizing about my dreams.
But Biden is the most popular person in the party, which is not an endorsement of their chances at all.
Is he, child? I don't know.
What about a Fetterman wild card? Fetterman
not
is
my
not
boy
even
whose
healthy
health
enough
is
to
in
win
shambles?
the Pennsylvania race. Someone in our.
There's plenty of people they could get that would become popular.
They get Michelle Obama.
Right? I just don't think Democrats have the same drive to humor and speak to their base the way Republicans do. That's what I think. I think Republicans are able to create these kind of candidates that while they are extremely polarizing and we hate them on the left, they're very much so speaking to the needs and belief systems and everything that happens on the right. Democrats don't do the same. When we like people, and on the left, or they disregard them. Socialist, crazy, defund, blah, blah, ignore. That's how they act. So we're going to get more of Biden, which I could have told you was going to go this way.
We got to see how the next few years go. Like right now, Biden is in an incredibly weak position. The Democrats are going to get destroyed in midterms. If this is as bad as it gets, if eventually we get inflation under control, if Ukraine wraps up, if the pandemic is really done, I'm not saying any of these things are likely, but there is. If this is the worst moments of the Biden presidency, he will be a more formidable opponent than that. It's going to be quite a race regardless. I can't imagine him ever getting so much more popular again where he's like in a commanding position. But incumbency has a lot of advantages. It's going to be
not right now. I just can't imagine any advantage at this point when everything.
If the election was held today, yes, and I think he's going to. I think the Republican challenger is going to be a favorite.
My belief
even Trump. I said before. Trump is like the only Republican who could possibly lose to Biden. Now I don't even think Trump would lose to Biden. I think Trump would beat him.
I honestly,
and I think he knows that.
Don't think people voted. I think that this is true. I do not think people voted for Biden. I think they voted against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I think with Donald Trump, and a lot of people are not paying him any mind from he's not, in office, he's not on Twitter. So a lot of people have just completely kind of let, Donald Trump fall to the wayside. And so then you're absolutely correct. It is to his advantage because now there's just a focus on the dissatisfaction with Joe Biden.
But we got to know, I want to know what some of DeSantis' political views are on some of these questions that there's been no really reason for him to address yet because he's a governor, he's not a national figure. But for instance, we had a guest on earlier today, my friend Jim Antle, who was talking about the changing Republican positions on foreign policy, how now the only opposition to this proxy war with Russia is actually within the political sphere is coming from Republicans. Not all of them, but some of them.
Right.
And there's none of it on the Democratic side. Where is DeSantis on the kind of changing lines of the ideology and foreign policy? We don't really have any reason to know. He doesn't have any reason to opine on that.
Well,
but
I mean,
I'm curious to learn.
Yeah.
That'll be one of the tests he could pass to distinguish himself
He's definitely
from
given
the
some
old
glimpses.
Republican Party.
Well, he's given glimpses of of how he would be. I mean, he's definitely pro-Israel, so extremely pro-Israel. But at the same time, he's also shown himself to be more about let's give money back. Let's focus on America. He is kind of an America first style candidate. So I would be, unless that shifts, I think that he would. One of the reasons he doesn't talk about it as much is because he's kind of like, we've got problems here at home that we need to be focused on. That's the right attitude, in my opinion.
All right, well, we will keep paying attention to that. For now, Dr. Oz is officially the Republican Party's candidate for Pennsylvania Senate, and we will discuss that coming up.